Hello, beautifuls. It's Charlotte here with Dragonfly Soul Healing. So I'm coming on today because I've been really feeling called to share more knowledge, speak more truths, really kind of getting my thoughts out there a little bit more. So my energy is sporadic with how I share my energy and knowledge, because I'm usually on some kind of journey of rediscovering things or shifting things or moving things in self. And so I really like to focus on that, and I always share that knowledge with people that I'm in person with, but I don't necessarily do it through videos or posts as much. So I go through phases where I'm like, I need to shift that. So I'm in one of those places right now. With the circles that I've been doing, even the clients that I've been seeing, everything that has been coming forth over this last 3-4 months, but especially over this last 2 months, we've really been called to pull our energy back into self and really learn how to fill our cup up. And so you will have found over this last little bit that a lot of realizations are coming to the surface. And what I found is, in myself, I started learning about some new stuff. So I'm always evolving. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm always like, what's next, right? So I start diving into new knowledge, and I really get kind of around the surface level of those things and start healing it in self. And then I start kind of working on it with others as well. Like, okay, if this needs to be pulled out of my field, it needs to be pulled out of other people's fields as well. So I've been working with some new stuff that I'm not in a place where I'm really willing to talk about it yet. Willing's not the right word. It's more like I'm not in a place that I have the knowledge I require to talk about it confidently. But what I am seeing as I'm evolving through this new bit of stuff that I'm removing from my field is how much we've been plugged into programs and really blinded by these walls, by these seals that are creating a false reality around our perspective of what we believe in, what truth is. And so as I've been pulling this energy out of my field, I'm going through these weird resets where it's like everything feels numb and empty. And then as the next day or so comes forward, I'm really seeing truth, real deep truth. When I get around energy that I don't like, I really don't like it now. Where before I was like, maybe, I don't know. Or now I'm like, oh, no. And so it's been really interesting. It's been a fascinating transition of really just seeing things on a whole new level. And as I've been witnessing this and kind of going through these transitions, I've been getting huge downloads. And one of the biggest things that I've seen going through the meditation circles this last several weeks here, every Sunday, the themes that are coming up, I am experiencing those themes throughout the whole week, but really on that Sunday afternoon before I go in for the circle. And the messages that have been really coming forward this last little while is the Lightworkers really stepping into mission and purpose. And more than anything, about learning how to find that magic in self, where there's too many containers being held for other people. I found that my energy was so sparse because I was holding space for so many people that I actually put myself in a not great place. And it was a really great lesson because in that same week's meditation, after I pulled all my energy back in, I worked with everybody in circle to also pull their energy back in, to start showing people how many people we give our energy away to unknowingly. And so we do it all the time when we're sending prayers for people and saying we're holding space for people. And it was something I was taught in one of the groups I was part of that started my journey in the quantum realm. Hold space for people. But what I seen is it's not that we're supposed to not hold space for people. We have to call all our energy back, because what happens is if I'm holding space for you and my siblings and my parents and my best friends and my business and my car and your car and this and that and the other thing, if you watch all those energetic lines coming off of my frequency as I speak this, and then you create an energetic bubble around each one of these people, I am sending that energy of magic, that part of my magic, to these people, which in turn sounds like a great thing, right? Because we're helping people. But did you see how quickly I had 20 lines come off my field? And that was just me thinking about all my close people. This isn't me thinking about all the people I come in contact with, the people that I feel bad for, that I see on the street, that I send, those energy frequencies towards, all these things, right? And there's nothing wrong with doing this, and I don't want you to feel that there's something wrong with that. I just want you to witness how many energetic lines you have going out. And so pulling all those back in, right? All back into self here, and really taking care of self. So I've been really a lot more selfish over this last few weeks here since August began, and I really started getting these downloads. And in doing so, I've really dedicated myself to this next level of the healing, transitioning stuff out of my body and my auric field and my energetic field. I started getting more bookings. I have been filling up the circles a little bit better because people are drawing in, because I'm like holding space for self, being able better to do that for others in circle and in sessions. And as soon as I stopped feeding my energy to everybody else, things started coming back to me naturally, as if by magic. So I shuffled the cards. I reset all the cards on my table because it's just kind of what I do. I didn't really know what I was coming on for. I'm kind of just more go with the flow right now than I am, and than I've been really ever. I usually come on to these videos and I have like this mission of what I want to talk about, but I never really know anymore. And I'm seeing it more and more as it goes. I never even know what our meditations are going to look like, how it's going to go, how I'm going to start it, how I'm going to finish it, what's going to be in between. I don't even think about it. I just let it all happen every single week. And every week those meditations are different, and the information and the guidance that comes out is always different, but it's always exactly what we require. So I have this dragon deck that a friend bought, and so she bought it and let me borrow it for a few days while she was playing with her other new deck. So the dragon energy is present. I've been feeling the dragons around a lot lately, kind of just like here pushing us, really bringing us some new information, new downloads. And if we still hold some big triggers in our field, it's gonna feel chaotic. We do have, what is this? It's the Three of Wands, but it's like, this is on the bottom of the deck. But you can see here, he's like sitting there around all this lava. So we're kind of feeling the pressure cooker energy coming forward. And this is showing up especially if we're giving all of our energy away to everybody. And so this is why there's such a big theme where I keep telling people just be selfish, right? We have this clean house energy at the bottom of the deck. And this one's really about cleaning house on a lot of aspects, right? This is not just about the physical home. This is really about your energetic field, right? Where is your energy messy? I'm witnessing different people like in these like spliced timelines. It's like this really interesting where it's like they can't even get their thoughts straight because there's so many timelines just combining into one moment, and it's creating chaos. And that's kind of what this Knight of Swords is too. Like there's some real fast moving energy that's coming in for a lot of people. And I feel like it's going to be tied more to the people that have been in avoidance. So if you have been doing your work and have been listening, there's like a fast moving change coming in. And so it's kind of like to help pull you out of this energy, right? So we're starting to move out of this energy. What is this underneath this one? It's the Knight of Cups. So we have this like the white horse, this masculine drinking. And when I see something drinking in a tarot card, I always think alcohol. I really go back to the alcohol just because there's so much, part of some of the stuff that I was pulling out, there's in the liver, the kidney, the lung, all on this right side, the gallbladder, there was about 4 or 5 different spots. And it's all on the masculine side. So it's all on this right side. And there's all these plugs. And these plugs really, they were tied to the matriarch. I just redid the like unplugging these seals in the bath before I came onto this video a bit ago. And so I was really sitting with each one of these seals as she was going through and through this like meditation that I'm part of right now. And when I was pulling it out, these ones in the right side here, all in that lung, the liver, the gallbladder, the kidney, is tied to the matriarchy, but also is what ties the masculines, especially the masculines, but even your masculine side of self ties to that alcohol. So this is why I always feel that. And so I also see that white horse as kind of that like knight in shining armor, especially with it being the Knight of Cups. But with this drinking, it's like, and again, this is where you could feel like this. And so this could represent actually what a lot of these masculine energies are going through, because we have been witnessing the feminines of, you know, the ones that are in that female body or in that more feminine aspect of self. They're the ones who were awakening a little bit quicker, sooner, where the masculines have been taking in more of those lower chakra downloads, so a lot more of that earthy downloads and all this kind of stuff. Look at this 5 of Wands underneath, and see, it's like the masculine energy has been really struggling. And I feel like that's kind of what this is, right? Is they're kind of drinking to mask all this stuff that's going on. And it really does tie to a lot of stuff that I've been pulling apart lately, where it's like really suffocating. And it's not just the masculine, it's all of us. And it's a lot of the stuff we've been asked to really look at. It's funny, I haven't even fucking touched the cards that have fallen out of the deck yet, because I'm like, there's so much else going on here. That karmic wheel is at the bottom of the deck. Now, this has been a theme since the end of April. Something came up in my world, and you know, all I could think about is, man, how that karmic wheel has started to turn, and shifted gears and really just changed the whole narrative of everything that was going on. And what I was seeing was, and it's showing up again, so I was seeing that this as like its own plug, this own seal, and it's spinning, right? And the more work we're doing, the more this wheel spins and really moves us in that new direction of that justice and peeling apart these false realities that we've been hanging on to. Because even, you see here, she's pulling this piece apart as well. So we're peeling one layer back, and all it's doing is exposing another layer, right? So now we're getting the downloads of this new bit of information as we're starting to crack open. And it's really uncomfortable because it literally feels like this house of mirrors, right? So it's like for every piece that you heal, you see this truth, you see this mirror, you keep moving forward, boom, you get hit with another one, you see something else, boom, there's all that sexual trauma, whether from this lifetime or another. Then you're looking at something else, boom, you're like, we keep peeling these layers. And somebody had spoke yesterday actually kind of about how I thought I healed this thing and turns out I haven't. And my perspective was, well, it doesn't mean that you haven't healed. It means that another layer of your healing is ready to come to the surface, to be removed. Cleaning house, right? So that's what the justice is right here, is every time you clean this energy up, right, there's a new layer. But you see, this layer is just a little bit brighter, and that energy is just a little bit brighter than this one. So it's about allowing yourself to peel these layers and going through that house of mirrors and a lot of fives. Now we got the 5 inspirations, so the 5 of Wands twice, and I also have the 5 of Pentacles come up here. It's interesting, the 5 of Pentacles is really about feeling left out. This dragon deck is a little bit different meanings, and I'm kind of feeling this call. Okay, but first I want to talk about what I see. I see all these coins burning here, right? So it's like releasing all these old. We also had the 8 of coins, 8 of material come out, and he's got 7 out of 8 burning. So it feels like working on the change. 5 is about change. You've been changing, and it's like burning down all these pieces. Like this is part of those layers, right? And then as you're evolving and moving forward and kind of like releasing more and more, and not waiting for said knight in shining armor to show up, because that masculine over there is still just like lost in his fucking mess, right? We really have to clean our own shit up while they're figuring out how to pull themselves out, right? And that's whatever it means for you, whether it's part of your family, whether it's a friend, whether it's a child, a romantic partner, whatever. It doesn't matter right now. What matters is the fact that we're evolving through this change and working really hard. 8 of Pentacles is like that, working really hard, and it feels like there's some benefits that want to come through for all the hard work. I want to see, this book doesn't give you like a whole lot of description, but it is a little bit different than your typical. Okay, the 5 of Pentacles, the destruction of the amulets, various kinds of difficulty. Okay, interesting. So the burning down, and that's, so it's like, and I was kind of seeing that as like the releasing of like old karma. These are your layers that you've been peeling apart in a sense. The 8 of Pentacles, the magical seal, skill and self-discipline, deliberation. The magical seal. Now the seals are what I've been pulling out of self, and there's 2 different sets of them, and they still hold a lot of trauma. So if we haven't done a lot of Akashic clearing, I had a girlfriend go through it with me who has done a lot of work, but not as much in that quantum realm. She's still, you know, like getting through it. And when she went through the seal removal as I did, she went through a lot more emotion, because a lot of this stuff is holding, like I said, the seal, like it's like a wall of energy that blocks us from really feeling and experiencing the truths that are showing up in our fields. And when we don't realize how deep these wounds are, we think, oh, we can just handle pulling it all apart, right? I'm like this strong human, I've gotten through a lot of shit. We don't realize we've been doing this shit for a long fucking time. And as we pull it apart, those emotions are deep. And I've spent the last 2 years really pulling this stuff apart, really going deep into the Akashics. I've, you know, cried and had mental breakdowns and wanted to quit this whole earth bullshit 1,000 different times. I was blessed to have a beautiful soul kind of on my journey with me together. So we were doing this together the whole time, kind of working and pulling stuff apart as we met new people to help bring all the information we needed. So I watched it happen in different aspects. And so right now what we're really doing is peeling these layers. So to go deeper, we must keep burning down all these things. So even though this Eight of Pentacles really talks about that hard work paying off and that magical seal, which is super fascinating, and I want to track a little bit more into that. And then I'll kind of come back later once I've kind of dived into what the magical seal means. It does feel like it's almost like this energetic frequency that comes in, and once we start really peeling those layers apart, that more and more magic starts coming in, and we start awakening and activating those parts of ourselves that held that magic all along. And because we were shutting off our voices and our energy frequency to a lot of that stuff due to our traumas, due to all the different pieces of tech and the contracts and the vows and the oaths and the curses and the black magics and the blood magics and the baptisms and all the fucking things that have created the chaos that we're in now. Once we start seeing that stuff and we start really pulling it out and working next level with it, the more truths come to the surface, and then we go deeper. And so right now the Lightworkers are being called, and they're who I'm really calling into my container, into my office, into my circles, because those are the ones that we need to activate the most right now. I see a huge wave of people going through a massive awakening over this next year, but especially closer to the end of next year, we're going to see a mass amount of people just forced awakened. So we set up our contracts and our systems to be like, I'm going to give you like 15 tries to figure this shit out, right? So over this, year or two period, let's say COVID was your first trigger point to get you waking up, and you chose not to because you had more important things to do. Now you had time off, but you're still getting paid, and so we just started doing things differently, and we started evolving. We didn't really start waking up, so we gave ourselves another trigger and another trigger and another trigger, and over that last 2 years we've had all these triggers, but we still kind of ignored them. Right? We pulled just enough apart, but then ignored many more. There is always one big breaking point of okay, if you've ignored it this many times, right? So your soul creates this in its blueprint. If I ignore this lesson, this whatever it is that I'm supposed to get through and conquer before I can get to that next level, I need this big thing to happen to create this and force me to do what I am required. And so this ends up being one of those huge breakups. It ends up being somebody dying, somebody close to us dying, usually a parent or somebody that's going to kind of throw you off guard. This is going to be a big injury or illness. Hello, COVID, right? This is going to be something that forces you to come back in within self and have to take care of yourself, because there's nothing else available for the outside world, or you physically can't. And we're going to see a mass amount of that happening in this next year to year and a half cycle. And the biggest thing I've been shown and called to do is call in all the light workers and really activate the ones that are contracted to me. Obviously, not all of them. We can't do everything. But there's a wave of light workers that said, when it's time, the cord tied to me and you will be activated, and I'll just know that you hold something that's going to help shake me. And I hold that for a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that hold that for me and for you, and so on and so forth, right? So what are you being asked to do and evolve and shift right now? How are you being asked to show up for yourself, to show you how to hold your own container, so that a year from now, when we have thousands upon thousands of people going through chaos in their world and death and destruction and just messy stuff that we've all experienced, we're not, it's not anything new. How are you going to be able to show up for them? If you don't do the work right now, you will not be able to hold the container properly the way that these beings require. So I'm giving you your warning sign right now. You have about a year before you're going to be holding a giant container for people. And I remember my first ever mentor when, 8 years ago, when I laid on her Reiki table and she told me I was meant to be a healer and I was meant to help a lot of people. And that one day I was going to be holding circles and talking in front of people and so on and so forth. And I was like, oh, fuck no. Hard no. Listen, this Charla is going to avoid all of that not happening. Now here I am holding circles every Sunday and every new and full moon. And I love it. It's like one of my favorite things because I love watching and being able to hold that space for so many people and drop so many codes into so many people's fields. I can do so much more in those meditation circles. Though the one-on-one sessions are more personal, I can move a lot more in your field specifically in those sessions, which is also very amazing. I love being able to hold space for 10, 11, 12 people and be able to also drop those codes. And so everything that I am going through and experiencing and downloads that come in, I bring that information into the circles with me and I drop that in your field and have you move that energy yourself to really start showing you guys what is important. So those quantum witch circles are so important and so magical. And if you need some codes, you need to feel magic, meet people who believe in magic, anything, come to the quantum witch circles because they will help you evolve and give you that template of what it feels like to hold space and to witness magic happen. So I'm going to pull one from the Starseed Oracle here because I can. The High Priestess is here too, and the Time Guardian's here too. So today I was talking to one girlfriend and I was like, I'm seeing this timeline of next year, the end of next year, and it happens a lot where I'm kind of always like in the future, in the now, but in the future. It's like this weird thing that's been happening over this last few months. And so I'm seeing this timeline. I'm like, man, we got to get these fucking people woke. We got to go. And she's like, but everything happens as it's meant to, right? We're not running out of time. And I know that. And my soul's still like, but if you felt the emotion that came up, it was today I got this really big download. And when it came in, I actually had to sit there and pull emotions off for a few minutes before I could fully take the download in, because that's how much emotion is going to be coming from the collective of humans. And so this is how I know it's really, really big and why it's so important, because we need to be ready. And so you will wake up in divine timing. I just want you to do it faster. That's all. It's fine. I'm just kidding. I take that back. Call my projections back in. Inner Earth comes out. You'll survive this. New solutions and beginnings. And it feels like this whole new world wanting to come forward for you. And there is like solutions coming forward. And I feel like there's been a lot of people with that lingering energy of like, how do I even get out of this? I feel stuck in the mud. I feel like there's no escape or there's no solution. But there's something just around the corner. And I can feel it even in my world, where it's like there's something like right here just waiting to transpire. And again, the time guardian says you have time, right? He's holding this sacred tree of life, protecting this energy for you. Like, listen, we will make sure that you get everything that you require when you require it. So be patient with self and listen to the guidance you're being given. Oh my gosh. Hang on. Bottom of the deck before I say the other card. Time, what does it say? Trust the timing. Trust the wave you came on. Time is not running out. I shit you not, guys. You see me shuffling? This is at the bottom of the deck. Time is not running out because you are getting the downloads and the information you need, just like when I wish that I made more videos, but I don't. Am I in the wrong? Am I doing something that's not in alignment or whatever? You know, like all the things you put in your head when you're like, I should have made that video because there was so many good fucking things I needed to say. But were the people ready to hear it? Obviously not, or I would have made it, right? Just like you stumbling on this video or seeing my post or whatever it is, 31:13 on the clock. You've seen it just in time. I made this just in time for whoever needed to listen to this, even if it's one person. It doesn't matter. The other card that came out, and I'll finish up here, 31:31 as I look up. The 13s, 31s, that death energy, everywhere, buddy. The Lost Lands is the last card that comes out. It says soul memories and gifts. You've done this before. This card came out when I went to Mara Lake, which is a lake by me here. It's one of my favorites. Every lake is my favorite in its own way, but this one's like my favorite. It's really got a lot of Mintaka energy, that mermaid energy, lots of magic in the energy in that water. And this Lost Lands card came out when I sat there the one day, just sitting beside the water, like kind of creating a container before I went into the water. And this one came in, and it really felt like when I went into the water that day, I was like going and like retrieving those old memories. And so you're going to find that old psychic and spiritual gifts that you held in these previous lifetimes are going to start coming forward for you as you're peeling these layers back. So your psychic abilities, your dreams, your visions, your knowings, your hearings, your seeings, whatever it is that you hold or maybe don't yet, will start coming online more consciously and strongly.